Warcraft's new master manipulator. We got some lore to talk about, boys, and I'm going to let Platinum WoW take the reins here, but I'm definitely going to get into this with him. So let's see what Mr. Platinum WoW has to say about Xal'atath.
At BlizzCon 2023, the new WoW expansion, War Within, was announced. And with it, they revealed that the character Xal'atath would be playing a large role within the narrative.
That's right.
It will be led by someone we were first introduced to in Legion. Xal'atath, a harbinger of the void.
Who the f*** is that?
If you haven't been deeply in tune with Warcraft's narrative over the past 8 years, you will have no idea who this character is that has been built up since the Legion expansion. Hell, even if you've been playing the game since then, getting the full grasp of this character's story is difficult for most players. But in order to understand the full scope of her influence, you'll need to learn about the alarming amount of events this rogue servant of the old gods has took part in Warcraft's history. The history of this mysterious entity dates back to the Black Empire of the old gods. Xal'atath is a sentient blade whose exact origins are unknown. She is
nobody knows
trapped
where she
within
came
the
from.
weapon, and some of the more outlandish claims say that
Although I think it's pretty obvious that she is a void entity. She came from the void, but who she is, what she is,
Hello there.
Questionable. What's up?
the dagger was crafted from the claw of the old god Y'Shaarj, or she is just a forgotten old god herself.
They will pay for what was done to me long ago.
There is so much to this theory about her being an old god, and we hinted at it a little bit yesterday, and part of it had to do with what Wajo sent about the whole Chronicle book and how it has all these different old gods sitting in the margins, and yet it looks like there's one missing. It looks like there's one missing. I could pull it up right here. I already have it up actually, but what's going on here? So we have the Chronicle book, right? We have the Chronicle book. Let's look real quick. If we look at this image, we can start to zoom in on these old gods, and you'll start to see a theme here. So who is this sitting in the bottom corner? Looks like N'Zoth. Yeah, if I had to pick, I would say this bottom corner god here is in fact N'Zoth, okay? We head over to the other corner. I think it's fairly evident that this one right here with the teeth for the eyes is Yogg-Saron. He's sitting down there doing his thing. Yeah, looks just like him, right? We continue to work our way around. And who's this with the eyes sitting and the mouth open and everything? Looks like Y'Shaarj, right? Yeah, this is Y'Shaarj for sure. This is not pirates. This is confirmed stuff from Chronicle, okay? This is from the book. So there we go. We got Y'Shaarj sitting there. And then who is this? Look at that big giant eye right there. Should be a giveaway. Big eye with the tentacles sticking out. It's Cthulhu. It's Cthulhu, right? But there's one more. Who is this? Who is this? And what are they doing there? Well, we know a lot of the old god stuff is based on Lovecraftian lore. And my friend, Mr. Wajo from chat, happened to find an old god from Lovecraftian lore that kind of looks similar to this unidentified old god. Look at that, little wing, gilled ears, the tentacles hanging. Very similar look, I would say. Multiple eyes. Doesn't this kind of look like it? Now, who is this mystery old god? This is Kilthila, also known as the Krakit or the Secret One. She is the offspring of Cthulhu, which is probably Cthulhu. She is the daughter of them, and is critical to his plans, as should Cthulhu somehow die. Kilthila will give birth to him once again. As such, she is guarded by the Deep One and Yuga. In what might be assumed to be Ryalesh, and she was first from the star of Zoth, but came from Earth. Okay, so one interesting thing, she's also known as the Secret One. The cult tries to hide all the information about this goddess, most famously by defacing the columns of Geth. Her legend is dimly recorded in Greek mythos. So this mystery old god who's intentionally hidden. Guys, I don't know about you, but this extra old god sounds a lot like this one from Lovecraft. This all together sounds like Xal'atath. Sure does. It sure does. Now I'm gonna let Mr. I'm gonna let our boy here cook a little bit more, Platinum WoW, but I think she could definitely be the 5th old god.
The Black Empire would ultimately be crushed by the Titan Forged and their constructs, but Xal'atath eluded their imprisonment and began to influence the history of Azeroth in rather clever ways.
I long for the day our masters can truly pass into this realm.
Interesting. Yeah, right to BFA, Azami, as you were saying it.
Was in the ancient city of Zandalar. Within the troll capital of the world, Zando, a Gurabashi witch doctor, felt slighted after being outperformed by his rivals.
Yeah.
Yeah, she isn't a void elf, that's for sure.
That is when Xal'atath materialized, promising the meddling witch doctor indescribable power to outshine his foes.
Ooh.
You see, Zandalar was almost a perfect environment
What's
for
that?
the
Aloha.
trolls. They had everything. Lush jungles, plentiful food, dinosaurs, god dinosaurs, and the trolls were by far the biggest superpower on Azeroth.
Yes, this is true. The Zandalari Empire was at one point the strongest empire in the entire world. Nobody fucked with them. I mean, I'm talking about these guys could literally take on any other civilization in the world. And now all of a sudden, they lost their power.
There was just one
fall
place
from grace.
they could not go to. It was a large black mound of stone that no one was permitted to travel to because of its bad vibes. Obviously,
Scourge army.
Xal'atath convinced
Obviously,
Zando
a
to
very
travel
powerful
there.
entity as well.
Watch now, as a weak mind gives way to darkness.
Oh yeah, she also convinced him to sacrifice his followers there in a blood ritual.
Damn.
And, oh yeah, also drive the blade deep into the stone. Turns out, it wasn't just a big black stone. It
The
was
beginning
an
of the
ancient
end.
old god monster called Kithix.
So
And this
Xal'atath is basically responsible for the fall of the Zandalari Empire, one of the greatest empires Azeroth has ever seen. Nice.
event marked the beginning of the Aekir and Troll War. This Apple of Eden type of scenario is one of my favorite parts of Xal'atath's lore, and the Dagger's influence would spark a series of events, like the trolls chasing the Aekir across Azeroth, some of them turning into night elves, and eventually blowing up the whole world.
Holy, hold on. You're telling me Xal'atath is now responsible for night elves and thus high elves and every other elf in the game? Literally leading to the spread of the Zandalari Empire, which led to them finding the fonts of power and everything, which they sat around and eventually became night elves. What the heck? Maybe that's why Xal'atath takes the form of a void elf. That is a form of what she's basically created. She basically created void elves. Damn. That's crazy.
Arrogance, even for a long-lived
I did not
elf.
know this part of the lore.
Now, did Xal'atath know that was going to happen? Probably not, but there was clear intentions to the chaos she caused. There is mention of Xal'atath being in the possession of the Naga for some time after the Great Sundering, but the details of this moment in history
She's technically responsible for the Naga, too, because they are from the Night Elves. Damn it.
are currently unknown.
Azeroth, as we know it, was
Took
saved by
ages to
Xal'atath.
make my return to the surface after the sundering. The Naga can be so possessive of artifacts.
The next moment in history Xal'atath appeared, she helped by sending us into space to introduce us to today's sponsor. And oh my goodness,
Oh, what a
is that
transition.
the USS Enterprise? Star Trek Fleet Command is an award-winning MMO where you
What
get
a great
to explore
transition.
the vast expanse of space with the most iconic characters from all of Star Trek's amazing franchises. In this free-to-play experience
Naga is from
available on
N'Zoth.
mobile and PC devices, you'll explore
But Naga are night
participating in
elves.
epic
They're
space
basically
battles
deformed night
with
elves,
players all around the
who
world
now we
bringing
realize night elves came
strategy
because of
to the
Xal'atath.
test. Star Trek Fleet Command is constantly
Water
being
elves, yeah,
updated,
basically.
And in December, they're introducing a new wave defense mode, new missions, and my personal favorite addition, new characters like Luther,
Night elves are from
Sloane,
trolls, yes.
Riker, and Diana. Now is the perfect time to become
the same trolls that were led out of the Zandalari Empire by Xal'atath. They would have never became Night Elves if they weren't chasing old gods.
Warp Speed for bonus in-game items. Thank
Crazy.
you, Star Trek Fleet Command, for sponsoring this video.
There you go, Star Trek
Back
Fleet
to
Command.
regularly scheduled content. The next moment in history Xal'atath materialized was thousands of years later, specifically 230 years before the Dark Portal. At this moment in time in the Eastern Kingdoms, the tensions between the three dwarven clans was high, as they fought over who would be the ruler of Ironforge. The Dark Iron Clan was currently dwelling within the kingdom of Tharazan, led by sorcerer Thane Tharazan and Empress Modgood. Modgood had a penchant for rare artifacts and had employed
Dwarves and their
multiple treasure
treasures.
hunters to retrieve such prizes. One day, a Dark Iron Dwarf handed her a mysterious cursed weapon named Xal'atath. The Empress spent several days locked in her chambers to discern the secrets of the weapon. After a few days, she left to go search for the treasure hunter who had given the weapon to her to ask some questions. But that is when she realized no one could find him. No one could remember his name, or even his face.
Oh.
Jump forward to the War of the Three Hammers, and Modgood uses the weapon in her assault of Grim Batol. The
That's
weapon
right.
cursed the city, unleashing dark apparitions on their foes and corrupting the dwarven fortress and her own soldiers.
There you go. And a new dungeon was born. Very interesting. I wonder, considering now that we know Xal'atath is the one who kind of led to the creation of the elves and all that, and, trolls in general, they are a natural entity of Azeroth, right? They are not like the humans and the dwarves and the gnomes who are Titan creations, right? Like humans and dwarves and those, they are Titan creations that got a curse of flesh, or, the blessing of flesh, as we like to call it around here, because the gift of flesh, because in truth, that gave us free will. But I wonder how the Titans and the old gods felt when they saw the night elves, or the elves, high elves, who are basically descendants of the trolls, who are natural entities of the world, kind of more old god aligned, allying with the humans and the dwarves, who are more Titan aligned. You basically have an alliance that was created by the old gods and the Titans. That's a weird thing to think about.
Dark Iron Dwarves most affected by this curse turned into the Skardan. Animalistic cursed dwarves who run on all fours, can climb walls,
What the
have
hell?
sharp teeth,
Have we seen these in game before?
scales, and stinky breath. Now, these creatures have never been seen in-game
I didn't
and
think
were
so.
originally supposed to be added in the Grim Patol dungeon in Cataclysm, but were later replaced by Trogs. Still, there are a few items suggesting
funny.
that they still exist in the universe,
Oh, wow.
so perhaps we'll see them return in the War Within expansion.
Maybe.
Back to Grim Patol, Kadros Wildhammer and his clan fought their way through the Cursed City, heading straight towards Modgood and confronting her personally. But when they reached her, Modgood reached for the Cursed Blade, only to have it vanish from existence,
Damn.
sealing the Empress's fate.
So, she's about to get freaking one-shotted. But that's crazy. So the dwarves, for a long time, played with Xal'atath. That's crazy, because we're getting a dwarf expansion, right? I mean, that's what the War Within is. There's a lot of dwarf focus on it. I wonder if we're going to get to play out this storyline. Because this storyline seems like it's very core to Xal'atath and her adventure through Azeroth and all the different races she affected. She had a large effect on dwarves. This is some crazy shit.
After Modgood and the Dark Iron's defeat, the remaining few fled, and in a desperate attempt to
Yeah,
win
it looks
the
like
war,
she's touched all the
Sorcerer
races, you're
Thane
right.
Tharazan summoned Ragnaros and horribly underestimated the Fire Lord's power as he destroyed the city of Tharazan, created the Blackrock Mountain, killed the lead sorcerer, and enslaved the rest of the Dark Irons. Ragnaros was also under the influence of the Old Gods. So again, was this all a part of Xal'atath's plan to spread the power of the Void across Azeroth? Maybe, I don't know. The next time in recorded history,
She's like basically playing 5D chess better than the jailer ever did, which is great. It's good to see. And who the hell is going to be the new Fire Lord? We just killed the most recent one. I think they'll just bring, why not bring Ragnaros back? We've only done that like 10 times.
materialized was 230 years later.
Hopefully
when the Dark Portal
Farak
opened.
I don't know. Yeah, maybe Farak's not dead. Maybe we've like cleansed him of his corruption, and he's going to become the Fire Lord. I'd be fine with that, honestly, if they did that, because he did take the essence of the Fire Lord when we kill him in the raid. So maybe he does become the next Fire Lord.
While the humans
redemption arc
attempted
for
to push
Farak.
back the rampaging orcs, they
He's still
studied
corrupted
the
as fuck,
strange
just a corrupt
dark
Fire Lord?
magics
Maybe.
their warlocks
That makes
possessed.
sense, too.
A human priest named Natalie Seline heard rumors that the orcs had a powerful forbidden blade and sought out the weapon. During this investigation, she would eventually find the weapon and...
There it
The
is.
caterpillar has become the butterfly. She is all but ours now.
Immediately after touching Xal'atath, Natalie came to the conclusion that this was just far too powerful to be destroyed, and that she should keep it. You know,
of course.
just like
Lord of the Rings.
Study it. That's all. Just study. Through
My
the
precious.
blade, Natalie was one of the first humans to learn how to wield the powers of the Void. And by the Second War, the priestess was using the weapon against the Horde invaders.
She's the first Shadow Priest. This is the first inclination of Shadow Priest in game. Damn.
And teaching its power to
Xal'atath
her
has literally
followers.
changed the
And
entirety
while
of
the
WoW.
Void is powerful, its corruption can also be all-consuming. And Natalie entirely forsook the powers of the light and fully enveloped herself in shadow.
Oh, the caterpillar
Her followers
butterfly
were
one.
led down the same dark path. And in their insanity, they believed that Natalie was hiding the blade's true power from them. Her followers killed the priestess in her
Jeez.
sleep and stole Xal'atath, never to be seen again. But oh, plot twist. Natalie actually pulled her spirit into the Void before she died, and years later her teachings of the Void would be discovered by the Forsaken, who started the cult of Forgotten Shadows.
Wow.
And they would later resurrect Natalie in the Legion expansion. But again,
It's
did
all connected.
Xal'atath plan for all of this? Did she plan to fall into the hands of Natalie, teaching the humans the true power of the Void and spreading its corruption? Again, maybe. I don't know.
I don't know if she planned all of this so far, but I think as she's moved from person to person, she's kind of manipulated things to continue moving on to the next person, to get whatever her end goal is. I don't think this was all like, okay, I'm going to fall into the Naga's hands, then I'm going to go to the dwarves, then I'm going to go to the humans. I think just things as they happened, whoever was holding her at the time, she corrupted them in a way to try to get, to her end goal, which we're going to find out what it is probably in Midnight.
Of Legion, that is the next time
Plan should be used
Xal'atath
loosely.
appeared, when Shadow Priests are sent to Tyr's
That's right. The Void sees all truths. Yeah, that's right. When we talk about plans, that's more of a Titan thing, honestly. When you talk about a plan, like a final end goal, and trying to do everything you can to make that plan come through, that's more of like a Titan idea, where they have one truth that they want to happen. The old gods, like you said, see many truths. So she probably saw all these possibilities and just kept playing it out as it went. Whatever truth was the next one in line, she would just kind of let it happen.
Glades to obtain their artifact weapon. They are specifically sent to the tomb of Tyr and slay a Twilight's Hammer cultist and use the blade to consume the essence of an old god minion.
Yes, the blade is right. I am unstoppable. With this weapon, I can do anything.
He's saying that he's going to die now. Yep. Famous last words.
And pitiful. The Twilight Father did not dare wield me, for he knew the price of failure. You, on the other hand, yes, I foresee us doing great things together. Take hold of my haft and I will aid you. For now.
Throughout the expansion, Shadow Priest players form a close bond with Xal'atath as they explore the Broken Isles and defeat the Legion. All the while, the Blade is whispering about the events taking place before them.
From birth, pit lords are oversized and stupid.
Did she really
Somehow,
say
the Legion manages to magnify both traits. Suramar, its noble citizens, greedily slurping at their world's very lifeblood. Really?
Damn.
These thugs of Sargeras are so interchangeable. This one is good with his axe. Oh, how unique. Can you taste it on the air? The sweet nectar of madness. Oh, this place is swollen with it.
And during
what a freaking Shadow Priest played a different expansion than everyone else. What cool whispers those were. She's literally talking shit about the Legion the entire time. That is so freaking funny. Old god of sass, yeah.
this expansion, players would fall in love with the sultry talking blade, and Xal'atath would earn the name Naifu. also Beyblade. At the end of the expansion, Sargeras stabs a giant sword into the world, and player characters drain the power of their weapons into the giant sword to stop its corruption. And lore-wise, Xal'atath is either misplaced or disappears from the player character's possession. Somehow I'm not surprised. But
well, it doesn't disappear, right? I mean, oh, well, he's getting to it. Yeah. Battle for Azeroth.
Battle for Azeroth, players can stumble upon a quest line involving Xal'atath. Now, any class can do this quest line, but Shadow Priests have unique voice lines with Xal'atath during these quests.
Strength failing. I need blood. Souls.
Shit.
When they first find the blade, it's off a remote island of Stormsong Valley, and they must kill mobs to restore Xal'atath's power.
How glorious it is to be renewed. Though I haven't forgotten your callous misuse of me in Sylvanas. Such a waste of potential. It pleases me that we have a chance to spend more time together. You should know
these voices? It's good.
that of my many companions, you were my favorite.
Oh, you're just saying that, aren't you?
We will accomplish remarkable things together, you and I. Magnificent things. I realize it may be disconcerting to converse with a weapon. Be at ease. I merely wish to see you reach your full potential.
That's right, full potential. Old gods are all about helping us achieve our full potential. Titans are always about holding us back from that full potential. Maybe because they know at our full potential we lead to, disorder, madness. Who knows? But it's always an interesting thought that the Titans are all about kind of chaining us down, holding us back. And the old gods are always about, releasing power, using power. That goes back to Azeroth too in the World Soul. I feel like the full potential of Azeroth, the old gods and the Titans are aware of what it could be. The Titans are fearful of it, and they decide to hold it back, chain it up, lock it up. And the old gods have been trying to wake it up this entire time. It's a common theme.
Convinces the player to collect 3 artifacts to stop the Naga from conjuring a giant storm. This process involves killing a worshipper of the Void and possessing her body so Xal'atath can take a corporeal form.
Yes. It's been so long since I took
that was
mortal
interesting.
Form. This body is pleasing, don't you think? I knew you were the right choice. Your strength and courage are compelling. Once again, you prove deserving of my admiration.
Yeah.
Such a worthy champion. It is no mere coincidence that
Time to get it
our
on.
paths intersect. You are meant to find me. I was meant to find you.
Not an elf, she's a
grand
squid, that's right.
Destiny lies before us. Surely you sense it as well as I. Join me at the precipice of oblivion. There, the way will be opened.
The precipice of oblivion. There our path will be revealed. What? What is the precipice of oblivion? She talked about going back to the Black Empire?
Our path shall be revealed.
After collecting 2 other relics, Xal'atath sends players to the Shrine of Storms, where... Hey, wait. We collected these to stop the Naga, right?
Hear me, God.
So we thought.
I have brought you the opener, the bringer of truths, the torch that lights the way.
Did you hear what she just called him? Hold on. Did you hear what she just called him? Listen to this again.
Of truths.
The Naga, right?
Listen to what she calls him.
God of the deep.
God of the Deep. You guys remember what I was talking about this? Cynthia? Do you remember this? As such, she is guarded by the Deep Ones. What the hell, man? Guarded by the Deep Ones, and she just called N'Zoth God of the Deep. Oh, man. Blizzard pulls from Lovecraft all the time. This is looking more and more like she is, in fact, an old god who was protected by the God of the Deep, a.k.a. N'Zoth.
Brought you the opener, The bringer of truth.
It's all connected, boys.
The torch that lights the way. Honor our bargain.
Honor our bargain.
Find my own fate.
But the blade must remain.
Why, N'Zoth?
Serve my will.
A fair exchange. Shadows guide my dear.
The blade must remain because why? Because N'Zoth put a piece of himself in it to keep himself alive. Because N'Zoth is not dead. He is simply wandering around using the blade like a Horcrux. Not only is he attached to the blade, but we finished the cinematic out. You'll realize he's also attached to us. Every great hero of Azeroth. A piece of N'Zoth remains.
I have dreamed your destiny mortal. The hour is close at hand.
Don't forget, he witnesses our destiny in the first quests of Dragonflight, where we go back in time. We have that whole, what's it called? The whole chrono shit where we're going back and forth with the infinite Dragonflight. We're going from timeline to timeline to timeline. We end up in the Black Empire at one point, and N'Zoth tells us he knows us, and he knows what we are. What we will become. That's right. He says it again here. He knows us. He has dreamed of us. Tundra, you and many players have never cleansed the eye. The eye remains. The eye remains unless you cleanse it. So yes, you and many players are still carrying around a piece of N'Zoth. Shit.
Turns out Xal'atath actually tricked us into collecting the relics to fully separate her soul from the blade of the Black Empire, and cursing us with the gift of N'Zoth.
That's right.
Which doesn't actually do anything other than a cool visual effect and
it does something for
the old
N'Zoth.
god infiltrating our mind. Later on in BFA, Xal'atath, the blade, not the lady, falls into the possession of the Horde. Then Tunathanos Blightcaller, then the Queen Ajara, then Wrathion, who then used it to defeat N'Zoth. Does that sound like a whirlwind of story?
And all of a sudden it disappears.
It is, and it's far too complicated to...
Watch the flow of power. I've said this before. Watch the flow of power in this part of the cinematic here. It's going one way. One way. It's going from N'Zoth and into the blade. From N'Zoth and into the blade. That's right. He is being stored
to expand upon right now.
And then where's the blade go?
After the
Disappears.
defeat of N'Zoth, Xal'atath, the blade, not the lady, has disappeared once again.
That's right.
Xal'atath, the lady, and Xal'atath, the blade, have been lurking in the background, and finally, in the new expansion, War Within, Xal'atath will be returning as one of the main antagonists. And trust me, I'm looking forward to see her return, but I think Xal'atath also highlights a very strong weak point in WoW's storytelling. The storytelling of Xal'atath is told to players in the Legion expansion, which came out 8 years ago, and is only told to one of the 36 specializations in the game, and then her story is continued in the next expansion with an optional quest that can easily be missed, so you only know about the presence of Xal'atath if you are a highly specific player or you seek information about WoW lore, like watching this video. Thanks for watching, by the way.
Oh, you've gathered quite the group of followers.
Great video. And I do want to say one more thing about this whole Kilthea old god lore. Right? One more little thing to touch on about that lore. If we look again at the article real quick about Kilthea, or whatever her name is, Sylthea, she is known again as a great old one, the youngest prodigy, right? Where did she come from exactly? She came from a star, from the star Zoth, but now dwells on Earth. Where have we heard about a star? Where have we heard about a star in World of Warcraft? Some type of fallen star? Do you guys remember? Because I do. You guys remember the new zones in the expansion? One zone in particular is described as a fallen star. It's right there. It's right there. The fallen star. The Arathi people who currently live in Hallowfall talk about a vision of a falling star. And that was what led them underground. This fallen star transitions between the void and the light, if you didn't know that already. Very interesting. Could this be the ship or thing that Xal'atath rode in on? I don't know. According to all the Lovecraftian lore, that could certainly be something. But we'll have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see. Great video from our man, Mr. Platinum Wow.